A political firestorm is erupting in Minnesota tonight, and it's putting Democratic Governor Tim Walz squarely in the crosshairs. A viral video is raising explosive questions about how millions of taxpayer dollars were spent on daycare centers that appear to be doing absolutely nothing. The backlash exploded Saturday after footage surfaced showing a Minneapolis childcare facility that reportedly received millions in state funding despite showing no signs of active operations. Reacting to the growing scandal, Vice President Vance didn't mince words. Responding to an X post highlighting allegations of Somali Medicaid fraud and voter fraud in Minnesota, Vance called the situation a microcosm of the immigration fraud in our system. Politicians like it because they get power. Welfare cheats like it because they get rich, Vance wrote. But it's a zero-sum game, and they're stealing both money and political power from Minnesotans. Republicans are now demanding consequences. Congressman Mike Lawler of New York says Governor Tim Walz must be held responsible. Folks need to be arrested and prosecuted, and the governor of Minnesota needs to be held accountable, Lawler posted on X. Congress should hold a hearing immediately and start getting answers. At the center of this controversy is a 42-minute investigation posted Friday by independent journalist Nick Shirley. The video shows Shirley and another man visiting multiple childcare centers across Minnesota, including one on Nicollet Avenue in Minneapolis. What they found is raising eyebrows nationwide. The footage shows no visible activity at the site. The building bears a misspelled sign reading Quality Leering Center. Yet the center was reportedly listed as serving 99 children and received roughly $4 million in state funds. As the video spread, some of the most influential voices in America weighed in. Donald Trump Jr. urged Americans to watch the footage in full. If you haven't watched this yet, watch it, all of it. Understand that this is what journalists are supposed to do, but no one in the mainstream media will even bother to look, let alone actually publish it. This is what they're doing to your country with your tax dollars, he wrote. Elon Musk went even further, accusing the radical left of manipulating government programs to import voters and lock in permanent political power. The more you look at it, the more you will be horrified at what your tax money is doing, and the fact that, if this is not reversed, your vote will mean nothing, Musk posted. He pointed specifically to Minnesota. The most obvious case example is the Somali voting bloc in Minnesota, a state that historically had 0 Somalis, electing Ilhan Omar to the U.S. Congress. A day earlier, Musk posted just 3 words: prosecute Tim Walz. This video has now gone viral as part of a much larger scandal engulfing the Walz administration, one that reportedly includes at least $1 billion lost to alleged social services fraud, much of it tied to the Somali community in the Twin Cities. Authorities say a portion of that money may have ended up in the hands of the Somali terror group Al-Shabaab.
Well, you know, Minnesota's a great place, and this is a great leader right here from Minnesota. He loves it. Not happy with what's going on up there, and I think he'll take care of that situation. We're all with you.
With your help.
No, you have my help. What's happening up there is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Billions of dollars have been stolen. Billions sent back to Somalia.
A shocking courtroom decision in Minnesota is now raising serious questions about justice and accountability in the U.S. In a move experts say almost never happens, a judge overturned a unanimous jury verdict in a massive $7.2 million Medicaid fraud case. The ruling came late last month from Hennepin County Judge Sarah West, and it has sent shockwaves through the legal world. The timing is critical. Minnesota is already under intense scrutiny for a series of welfare and human services fraud scandals. Billions of taxpayer dollars are at risk. Now, critics warn this ruling could make it harder to hold people accountable for fraud involving public money. Legal experts say judges rarely throw out jury verdicts, especially in white-collar cases, where crimes are often proven through financial records, patterns, and paperwork, not eyewitnesses. University of Minnesota law professor Jane Ann Murray told Fox News she was surprised by the decision. She explained that Minnesota has one of the toughest legal standards in the country for cases based on circumstantial evidence. Prosecutors must rule out every reasonable explanation of innocence. That is a very high bar. Judge West said prosecutors did not meet it. The case centered on Abdel Yusuf, who was found guilty by a jury on 6 counts of aiding and abetting theft. Prosecutors said Yusuf and his wife stole millions from Medicaid while running a home healthcare business. They argued the business had no real office, operated for years out of a mailbox, and used public money to fund a luxury lifestyle. However, Judge West overturned the verdict. In her ruling, she said there was a reasonable chance that Yusuf's brother committed the fraud without Yusuf's knowledge. Because of that possibility, she said the state failed to prove Yusuf knowingly took part in the crime. The decision drew swift backlash. Republican State Senator Michael Holmstrom called the ruling unprecedented and accused the court of hiding the truth. He has demanded that sealed records and evidence be made public, arguing that Minnesotans deserve transparency.
The American people are the most generous people in the entire world. In our country, when you are hungry, we feed you. When you are homeless, we house you. When you're too poor to be sick, we'll pay for your doctor. We spend trillions of dollars a year helping our friends and neighbors who are less fortunate than we are. And that's rare in this world. I've been all over our wonderful world. You have too, Mr. President. And in many countries, if you get down on your luck, they'll let you die in a ditch. But not in America. Not in America. We take care of our fellow citizens. But it's expensive. We spend trillions of dollars a year to do this. And that money that we spend didn't just fall from heaven. We thank heaven for it, but it came out of taxpayers' pockets. And we shouldn't lose sight of that fact, Mr. President. Now, that's why I get so irritated. Irritated is the wrong word. Angry. When I find out that people take advantage of the American people's generosity. It makes me want to knee someone in the groin. It just makes me furious. And I think the American taxpayers feel the same way. What I'm about to tell you, Mr. President, let me apologize in advance, is deeply disgusting. It's deeply disgusting. I mean, it is clown world on steroids. And when I first read about this, Mr. President, I read it a second time because I experienced slack-jawed astonishment. And when I read it a second time and I realized it was true, I just wanted to run away screaming.
Former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy also criticized the move. He said judges are normally required to stop a weak case before it reaches a jury, not after jurors have unanimously agreed on guilt. He added that circumstantial evidence is often strong and commonly used to win convictions. The jury's foreperson said jurors were shocked by the ruling and said their decision was clear. Now the case is headed to the appeals court. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison has filed an appeal, setting up a legal battle with major consequences. At stake is more than one verdict. It's public trust in the system meant to protect taxpayer dollars.
to blame them and say that they should have been responsible for stopping it, I think that's a pretty hard reach. I think we continue to educate folks about why they shouldn't commit crimes. You would hope that it's being taught both at home and at schools and in our society. But no, I think this idea that the Somali community is to blame for this because they didn't do more, I think that's how we got into this. And that's, you know, again, I know we're not going to lose the whole plot here. All this work that's being done, Donald Trump brought this to the attention like this is something brand new. This is not brand new, and it's been being worked on, but he made it white hot and very dangerous.